Coming back. You ready?
We're ready. How we doing on this Wednesday, Big T?
You know, I'm kind of hanging in there, brother. Been in the hospital. You know, just getting over that. Doing better, but trying to put things back together. How about you?
Well, nothing really new. Just working a little bit and hanging in there, helping you get back in there, back in the
Hey, you
swing of things.
Came to Birmingham and drove me home. That was quite the adventure. Appreciate you doing that.
Always an adventure with you.
Yeah.
Well, what we got going on tonight?
Well, we got a big guest tonight. Coach Pennock.
Is this will be our first? We haven't had any coaches on here before, have we?
Oh.
All right.
Be the first no one. So we'll talk to him about the upcoming Greyhound season. You know, a little bit about him and what he's done and, you know, what his team's gonna look like.
What do you think are some big questions that the public might have that he can answer?
I'd like to know, you know, we've had a good record in the regular season for a while. Just hadn't been able to get over the hump in the playoffs. And I'd like to know what his thoughts are about not only Ocean Springs, but the coast in general in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know, that would be a good topic for me. And, you know, just what his, you know, thoughts are for this year. You know, how we stand this year. Now, we've got, you know, the golf we can talk about, live, and what do you think about all that?
It seems like every week there's something else that comes out. Patrick Reed suing people today, suing Golf Channel and Brandel Chambly. We were listening to stuff about Brandel Chambly on the way back from Birmingham. And they had the players only meeting yesterday. Haven't really heard what they kind of talked about there, but it was obvious Tiger Woods was the alpha in the room.
Yeah. Well, I'm for.
I don't know. We can talk about golf all we want, but it seems like all the media right now, they're not talking about golf tournaments or what's going on like on the golf course. It's all this and that. So I mean, golf might be more talked about right now, but I don't know if it's. I don't know. It's not. Well, I guess it's got to happen for golf to kind of be talked about more. But it's going to be an interesting, like we've said, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a fluid situation.
So, what about football? You ready? Excited about that?
Here we are. We got games in August 27th, a week and a half. High school has jamborees this week. That's another thing we can talk about. The jamboree. Ocean Springs playing it on Friday. It's here. We're here. We're in there. Just like that.
Yeah, we're excited about that. I know I am.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you want to take a short break and get him on and go from there?
Well, sounds good. We'll be back here shortly.
Hey, look, remember our sponsor, The Office. Check them out. They're always good.
You know, it's been quite some time. It's been quite a while. I thought we were only doing like a 2-month sponsorship here. It's been about 8 months. So you're welcome, Collier.
Yeah, he's on the fly.
Because I'm sure he's tuning in to listen to this.
Just remember The Office. We'll be back. We'll be back shortly. Coach Pennock. Check us out. Welcome back to Miller Time with Big T and Blake. We're happy to have Coach Blake Pennock here with us today, kind of give us an update on the 2022 Greyhounds. Coach, how's it going?
It's going good, man. Anytime you start hearing the pads pop and everything else, it's just I love, it's my favorite time of the year. You know, I knew when I was early on in my life I wanted to be a football coach, and you know, finally when I get around this time of the year is when the blood starts really pumping.
Well, good. Blake, I'm gonna kind of turn it over to you and let you get started.
All right, Coach. So yeah, like you said, you know, this time of the year, pads start popping. It's hot as crap. First practice or in pads was what, last Friday night?
Right,
Saturday
yeah,
morning?
last Friday midnight, yeah, Saturday morning.
Midnight Madness. Tell us a little bit about that. How'd that go?
It went good. It's really cool. It's the first place I've been to that does that, and you know, we weren't able to do it my first year here with COVID and all that stuff going on, but we were able to kick it back off last year, and it was really good. And you know, last Friday night, Saturday morning was awesome. I mean, there had to be almost at least 1,000 people there. We had lights, had the DJ, music, and everything going. It's just a really cool atmosphere to be able to do that, you know, because a lot of times, and you know, you've seen kids, they get nervous under the lights, right? And it's a way for us to mimic that atmosphere and get an extra time in the light, you know, because we got the jamboree that we're going to do, but you know, a lot of those guys are going to go through that last week. Now we've made corrections and done some different things to make sure that we, you know, this week hopefully should be a lot more smooth. And then when we get into the first game, so it's really cool, you know, getting a chance. They love it when they get a chance to hit and go at each other. But it was a good experience for everybody.
Yeah. That I don't know when that started. Probably about 10 years ago, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they didn't have it in 76 and 77. I can tell you that.
But that was always a popular. When I was in high school, we were always ready to go out there and get fired up and watch everybody.
That's cool.
So talk a little bit about your background, you know, where you started your coaching career and kind of how you got kicked off, or whenever you started, knew you wanted to be a coach.
Yeah, well, you know, long time ago, you know, I was a 3-sport guy in high school. I did you know, football, soccer, and baseball, and really wasn't much of a soccer player. I kind of played that to keep the weight off in the winter months between football and baseball season, but love to compete and all that. And my uncle is Kenny Robinson. He's in the Mississippi Hall of Fame coaching. He coached at Mize High School for a really long time, won a ton of games, a bunch of state championships. And I used to go to Mize on Friday nights when I was real young and just love that football atmosphere. And it really got me hooked onto it. And then once I got older and started understanding, you know, football, started to pick his brain. And then, you know, I got into college, and when I got done with my playing days, I was able to land my first job at Oak Grove High School with Neville Barr, and just fell in love with it when Coach Barr was, you know, took me under his wing, and got to sit in the gym with him and just pick his brain. And, you know, then I've just really been, I tell everybody, I've been so fortunate and blessed in my career. It's just worked out perfectly. The Lord has his hand on me. But I parlayed that into a graduate assistantship at Southern Miss for 2 years, and Larry Fedora's last 2 years. And we ended up going to 12-2 and winning a Conference USA championship there. And then I went to Ole Miss under Hugh Freeze for a year. And then after that, left there and finally had to go start making some money, and got back into the high school ranks. And I ended up landing the job with Bobby Hall as his OC there for a year. And then after that is when I went to Clinton and met a young man named Cam Akers as he was my quarterback. And I spent 5 years there. And then had a great time, won a state title, a bunch of games. And then I was able to land my first head job at Pass Christian in
Yeah.
Mississippi, on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi. After a 1-9 year, the previous year I spent one season there, and we were able to go 8-4 and win the first playoff game in school history and all that stuff. Just a super neat year with a bunch of really good guys and all that. And then that landed me here at Ocean Springs. So I've been
You
really,
had
really
a
fortunate.
quarterback that slung it pretty good over there.
That's right. Dustin
What
Allison.
happened?
Yeah, Dustin Allison. He's a quarterback now at Southern Miss. Yeah, he threw for over 3,000 yards and 35 touchdowns. I mean, It was just that was a place. It's a really unique place. I really didn't know much about the Pass Christian, the west side of 49 down on the Gulf Coast, and didn't know where it was. And then I interviewed for the job and just watched some old tapes, had some things on YouTube, and saw some returning guys. They had a guy that can sling it, and I felt they had the right kids on the bus. It's just about getting them in the right seats.
Right.
And they had some athletes that can run. They still do. They're really talented now. And had that guy that could trigger man that could sling it. Being in football, that's the key.
Yeah.
So back up a little bit. You're at Clinton. You're the OC. What urges you to go from being OC at Clinton? That's your hometown, right?
Yeah, my hometown, Terry, Mississippi, right there. I mean, it's right there next to
Okay.
Clinton, on the south side of Jackson.
So what was the decision to go from Clinton being in your home area to go to Pass Christian to get that head job?
Well, I knew I was, I guess I was 31 years old, and it was just time in my coaching career. I felt like that I'd done about all I could do as an offensive coordinator, and I knew that in my next step, I always wanted to be a head coach. I felt like I'm a better head guy than I am an assistant, and so I tried to do a really good job as an assistant coach for my bosses to continue to elevate. And it was just that point in time in my career. And you know how it is. Everybody wants to hire that guy with experience, and nobody wants to give you any. Right. And I had my eye on a couple of head jobs coming open that cycle, and had just so happenstance I had my eye on another job in more in the metro kind of area that really just took too long. And Pass Christian offered me the job first. And when I went down to the Pass and interviewed for the job, I didn't know anything about it, but it was just such a super nice place, a great school. They had kids. They'd always, and this is go back to some of my older guys that I've worked with. They were always Pass was always good in track and good in basketball. So that tells me they have athletes.
Yeah.
Right. That tells me they got athletes, and they guys can run. And I know with the way that what we do on offense, that you don't have to have the biggest guys, with what we do on tempo and all those other things. You just got if I got guys that can run in space, we're gonna be all right. And so I mean, it just lucked out, and we ended up working out for the best.
Good. We're glad you had Ocean Springs.
No doubt, me too.
Yeah.
So translate that into in the past 1 year, then Ocean Springs opens up. What leads you into Ocean Springs?
I never would have guessed it. It's sometimes life is about timing and an opportunity. And I actually I met Mark not long right after our season had ended, and through the grapevine and all those different things that they be maybe making a change or whatever else, and that heck, there's a good chance that we had positioned ourselves for an opportunity at that job. And when I met with Mark, and I have tons of questions. I know what a top 6A program is supposed to look like, and the requirements and commitment and different things that has to be done to get that way. And the Coast 6A schools, just have this reputation of all these different things. And I was committed to, if I was going to make that leap, I want to win while we're there. And just everything talking with Mark and talking with Dr. Coleman, they were committed, and they were willing to do what it took, as far as the necessity of the things to just be a big time 6A program. And they followed through with those things. I told her in my interview, I said, look, coaches and players are going to win games for you, right? But administrations win championships. Yeah. All right. And that's been true to everywhere I've ever been. And so, they've been super committed to me and me to them. And then our boys feel that too as well. And so they put it on the line for us and done everything we've asked them to do. And I knew that this place had the ingredients to put it all together to be a big time program. And we're starting to tap into those resources now.
So you talk about the reputation, which I'm sure my dad's probably about to ask. Everybody knows it. Coast, they get to the second round. We've had a couple of years where there's a school makes it to the South State game maybe. But what are some things what are y'all doing to get past that, to get past Oak Grove, to get past the team from the Jackson area? What has to be done to do that?
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard. And the biggest thing, because I grew up in the metro area, right? And I've coached at those teams that have that stigma about the coast, right? And the biggest thing about there is every single day is a sense of urgency. All right, March 10th, August 26th, April 15th. It's a sense of urgency. We're always working. We're winning the state title today on this random Tuesday in the third 9 weeks. We're winning it today. Yeah. And that down here it's a little, it's just a little more not lackadaisical, I wouldn't say, but a little more just temperamental, and all those. Yeah, just chill.
You're right.
And some people want to go get on their boat on a Tuesday afternoon and just do whatever. Which
like you said, hey man, I hire guys, and that was the big thing for me is flipping my staff around of guys that understand that expectation, embrace that grind, and really want to be a part of that kind of thing and love football to get into the work of it. And that's just kind of what we do. And, we had to change our bodies my very first year, and I'm embarrassed to say it a lot of times, but I do like telling people where we were to where we are now. My biggest human being on my football team in a 6A school was 244 pounds, which is unbelievable. And we won 9 games. I don't know how we won 9 games, but we did it. Our players played hard. Our coaches coached well. But this now we have about 15 to 20 kids that are bigger than what that biggest kid is now, or that biggest kid was. Our offensive line averages 275 pounds across the way, right? And then our defensive line, we have 3 nose tackles that are bigger than 250. And a lot of it was commitment to the weight room, commitment to their diet, protein adaptation on what they intake after workouts, all those different things to maximize the development of our players. And that goes back to the commitment to from the school district and the administration that gives us the means to be able to do that.
That's great. That's great. We've needed that all along the coast. Mm-hmm. We just can't compete, or we're not. We're not.
Yeah.
But
to be frank about it, and I scheduled Clinton, because I know that they're going to be in the mix every single year. So I know how we will stand up to them athletically if we can handle them physically and match up with them athleticism wise. And so that's why I scheduled them. But then you go through our schedule and our season, and we play a half a football game basically every week, right? We go through our district, and a lot of our games are over by halftime. And so you go into, the first round of the playoffs, and you have your stuff, and then we win big like we did against Pearl. All right. But then you go into Oak Grove, right? And then so you go and you have that conundrum in your mind that says, all right, so look, we probably need something else, but we've been scoring 50 points a game doing it this way. How much do we need to change to get off of what we've been doing well versus how much extra do we need to do this. So like, and I always say that, you know, it's a bear playing in those Region 3 and Region 2 games. But what they do throughout the season is they punch holes in your team and you fix them as you go. You know what I mean? So in week 5, week 6, you have something that, like, had we played Oak Grove in week 7 and then had to turn around and play them in week 12, we would have had a different game plan and we would have beat them. Does that make sense? Because we would have known how we would have had to do it, right? But you don't get that because you don't necessarily get tested that much all the way through, so you don't know what your weaknesses are.
Yeah.
So putting in all those things y'all been putting together, when you got here, you didn't have big guys. You got bigger guys now, then leads into last year, and then boom, you're here, 12-0 or undefeated regular season. Talk a little bit about that. What did that mean to you as a coach, and how did the players react, and just talk about the season, how you think that went.
It was exciting. It was a really good ride. You know, the biggest thing, you know, going into it was, and I felt I did a good job of leading into the moment, because anytime you have a season like we did and we didn't go as far as we wanted to go, you look back and kind of try to critique yourself and make any adjustments for the next year, right? You know, if you end up in that situation again, you know, and I felt like at the time, in the moment, I did a good job of trying to, one, keep our guys focused on the moment and continuing to try to get better and develop as a team, rather than just, you know, focusing one on the opponent and, hey, let's win the game, right? Well, we go into games sometimes probably knowing that something big would have to happen for us not to lose it, but we're going in there trying to work on something specific for down the road, right? And you know, for us, it was really good in the moment. It was good. The big thing for us last year was trying to, you know, climb Mount Everest, right? And the farther you go, the higher you go, the harder it gets, and the more commitment and the more will to win that you need, right? And the more help, the more attention to detail, you know, that you need, because any little thing with all these different factors coming in is going to knock you down the hill. Well, same thing for us, you know. And I mean, it's a learning experience. I think this is the biggest thing we took away from it, and just enjoying the moment, but also learning from it.
Yeah.
And understanding, hey, because when we get back there, it's like the thing. My first job was in 2008 at Oak Grove High School. We went to the South State Championship, lost to Meridian. Then the next year in 2009, we went to the state championship and lost to Pennock. Oak Grove been doing it forever, right? Brandon's been doing it for a long time. Petal's been doing it, you know, and Madison Central, all those teams. Yeah. We will be better when we get there again, and we'll be prepared, and we'll know more about it. And it's difficult. It's hard. It's really hard to do. Those teams are really, really good, but that's the standard of what we're trying to get to. Right. Now that our guys have had a taste of it, they're really good too.
Yeah. Good.
So what can you take from last year to do it again and get over that bigger hump that y'all have now?
Never underestimate, right? You know, and just we have smart kids at Ocean Springs, and just always having a backup plan for your backup plan. You know, we go in there with plan A. Plan A was working. They adjusted. Then we had a plan B. Well, plan B didn't hit as much as we would have wanted it to, right? And so we had to come in, and we needed another plan. We needed a plan C to go to for that next time. But that was to that point in time, we never had to use one, you know, and we're not expecting to get, you know, completely shut out in a half, right? We feel like we're good enough. We shouldn't be able to do that. But what Oak Grove does defensively is really so different and difficult, you know, to do things with. So many great athletes, and they load the box on you, and they just attack, and it's a feast or famine. So if you're hitting, it's great, but if it doesn't, you got to manufacture some ways to be able to get it. And so for us, just learning from that is just having that preparation for the teams that you may see down the road, and having that standard of play and everything else to have that plan A, B, and C.
So we could talk about X's and O's all we want.
Me too. Yep.
You got Mr. Football on your team. Okay.
That's right.
He can defy all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about him. What do you think of him as a player?
Man, he's, one, the biggest thing that stands out is how much of a competitor he is. And the way he's grown from when I first got here, from his sophomore year to now, is just immeasurable, because he's a competitor, right? But if that's not channeled the right way, like it wasn't in his sophomore year, and he'll admit it to you. He make a bad throw and he gets so mad at himself, and or things wouldn't go right in the offensive scheme. He just gets so upset you couldn't control him. I have to snatch him up. It was a game ritual that I have to snatch him up on the sideline at least once a game just to get his mind focused. Last year he was a lot more composed, and the development overall for him as a passer and his commitment to being that good, I think his athleticism, stands for itself. And I told him a long time ago, I told Mark, his dad, a long time ago, I said, look, I promise you this. I know you're looking at him right now, and he's 6 foot, he's 165 pounds with nothing but just shoulder bones and elbows out there. I said, but I can promise you, people will talk about when they saw him play, by the time he gets done in high school. And I think we're there. I think he's, he hasn't rested on any laurels. What he's challenged himself to do this year is, he wanted to be Bray Hubbard, right? Have Apple TV, have Apple TV Plus. He wants to be Bray Hubbard Plus this year. He wants to do even more to carry his team. We had Evan McNally and David Humphreys and Holton White last year as a really good mixture of surrounding cast for him. Well, he's got some new guys in that mix now, and he has to elevate his play to do that. And I've been so excited about his commitment to doing that I'm ready to see him play. I'm excited about it.
We had him on our podcast. We tried to get him to announce his commitment to Alabama, but he waited and did it the next day. He wouldn't give it up for us. Yeah, he's we've known the Hubbards for years.
Mm-hmm.
And to see him play the way he has, I know his granddaddy was a pretty good running back.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sure he would, love to see him this year, but I'm glad he got to see him last year.
That's right.
But anyway, I think he's going to be a big part of your team. And, tell us about your weapons that you got with him, this year.
Yeah. Well, you start with JP Coulter, our slot receiver. He is, he's as good as there is out there. He was a 6A All-State slot receiver, kick returner, punt returner, and all that for us last season. He's elevated his game. His body is in great shape. His routes are good. He's been phenomenal, and I can really credit our wide receiver coach Tracy Lampley for that. And JP he's just really immersed himself in the offense and being a go-to guy. Christian White, 6'4" receiver, was a starter for us last year. Kind of more of a background type skill for us last season, and we're really expecting him to kind of be a go-to guy for us. He's got all the ability. He's super long. He can play that 50-50 ball to make it more of an 80-20. Good route runner, sure hands. So expecting him to really take that next step. And we got a couple of others there, that new running back, sophomore Will Smith, that had a huge 9th grade year for the
ninth grade class won their conference or whatever.
Yes, they did.
So should have a big How many contributors you think you'll have from that 9th grade class last year, other than the running back?
All right, so we'll have the running back. We'll have a wide receiver that's going to be a good contributor. We'll have an offensive lineman. Our starting left tackle is actually going to come from that group. Big, tall, 6'5", 300-pound Zaylen Dito is going to be the next big-time player. And we'll have several defensive linemen that are coming through that. Actually, a guy that did not play with that 9th grade group that's going to start for us as a 10th grader is going to be probably one of our top 5 athletes we have on our football team is a 10th grader named Bryson Smith. He came from Petal. If you'll remember the name, Eric Riley, it's his son. He is a certified baller. He started for Prettles Varsity as a freshman at safety, and he's going to be one for us. And we're going to put him on both sides of the ball to go back and forth. So we're excited about a lot of those guys coming in to make some true steps for us.
I'm told there's a young quarterback coming through.
That's right. Yeah, Sherrod Whitehead, probably, I think is what you're thinking about.
Yeah, pretty good player.
Yeah, we got a stable of them right now. You know, I got one in every grade. You know, I have Dabo Berglund, who keeps developing, will be a junior for us, will be in the mix next season. And then Connor White in the 10th grade class, big, tall lefty. And then obviously Sherrod. Sherrod is so exciting. He's so fast. He makes great plays. You know, he's got a great arm, but he's super just athletic with his legs. And that whole class is really, really good. So our big key for them, and Robin Lee, our offensive line coach, is our head 9th grade coach. One is keeping those guys together. That's the main thing. Any little, you know how life just happens sometimes. A kid quits here and plays baseball. A kid quits here because of grades, and another one moves away, and that kind of thing. It starts chinking into that group. But that's a really, really special group that can come in here and be really good for us. And so we're looking forward. The future's bright for us at Ocean Springs. You know, this 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade, if the 9th grade class gets to the conference championship this year, that will be 4 straight classes that have gotten to the 9th grade coach championship here in the last 4 of them. Yep. Yeah. That's really cool.
Well, Blake, what else you got?
I know you talked about couple players on the defense. Is that unit going to be better as a whole than last year, or what's kind of your thoughts on that?
I think we have an opportunity. We have a potential to be really, really, really good. All right. And I use the word potential because it's got to happen on the field. But I'm really excited about our depth on the defensive line. We have true size, speed, mixture there that we haven't had since I've been here. I will put our 4-man linebacking crew against anybody's with Keyshawn Thomas, Eric Moore, Trace Carter, and Kendarick Weathers. Those are 4 dudes that are really athletic, really big, and can really run. I'm excited about what we have in the back end, and just when you put it all together, it's the potential, right? But you got to play as a unit and do all those things. That's the biggest thing we've been harping on, but it'll be the most collection of size and speed that I've had by a pretty wide margin since I've been here.
Good deal. Good.
Yep.
Good.
I know you mentioned about the schedule, but having them playing good teams in the early part of the season to kind of open up some holes that you might not see if you don't play any better teams. Is that kind of how the schedule's set up for this year? Yeah.
It's the same schedule we had. I had Clinton because I wanted to play that type of a team, the one that I knew that would test us right off the bat and gives us something in the summer to really push towards and work for right out of the gate. And then
y'all are going to Clinton, right?
To Clinton this year, yeah, next Thursday. That's right. That'll be a great atmosphere. Super excited about it. And then I scheduled Hattiesburg because I know they're super athletic. Tony Vance does a great job with his program. They've always got tremendous size. Last year they took their lumps a little bit early on. They had a young quarterback, his son, that came through, but they ended up picking it up pretty good at the end. So I expect a pretty good game from those guys. And then George County, that's always a tough group. And James Ray does a great job over there preparing those guys. And they really tested us last year in the first half and really put our feet to the fire. And we had to come out of there with a gut check in the second half and outscored them 24-0. But I really like that group and they always have great athletes, on that side. So that's what we're going to look forward to. And hopefully we can come out of it 3-0 like we did last year.
Good deal. Big T, what else you want to know?
No, that's a good recap. Coach, when are you starting the breakfasts?
If I understand right, I thought we were going to have one Friday, but I think Mark said we're going to start it next Thursday. Next week. That's right.
That's going to be a Brooms.
That'll be at Brooms. That's on.
Bruce
I'm
again.
telling you, I love that place now.
Yeah.
I can do that breakfast there every time.
That's a good one there.
It is.
Have a good time with that. That's good. Anybody that wants to find out about the Greyhounds, come to Brooms on Friday morning, 7 o'clock.
Yep. I love those guys. I love y'all coming through there. That's I try to be as open and honest as I possibly can. You know,
You did a good job.
and doing that. You know, coming there every morning. I appreciate that crowd, and it got pretty big there at times last year.
Yeah.
And, so I try to be as open as I can to give y'all the real inside.
That's a good meeting. Good meeting.
Agreed.
Talk a little about one more thing. I want to know something about Cam Akers. When did you know that he was going to be like what he is?
Shoot, they
Or
knew.
how good was he?
All right, so it's really indescribable. But when I was at Madison Central, he was in the 9th grade. All right, we went over there and we played them. He was starting for them as a freshman. And I knew the head coach, Judd Boswell, over there before that, and him and I had talked before and tried to hook up and you know, with a job and all that, and just didn't get it done. But I ended up Madison, and we played them. Went over there, we beat them, you know, pretty bad. But he made about 2 runs at quarterback for them, reversing field, and Clinton didn't have much at the time, and he just busted around, big, huge runs, and you're just like, man, that kid is just next level special. Because, you know, Jackson area had right before him Malik Deer, and everybody knew about Malik Deer, and he was a big deal. Cam was different. All right. And then I go over there after that, and his sophomore year, and I'm just like, man, I got to be a part of this and coach this kid, and I know he's gonna do something crazy. And we ended up my first year there, we won 10 games and won a playoff game and all that stuff. And that was super exciting. And then, you know, his senior year was just unbelievable. I mean, we scored 50 points a game. I mean, it was 500 plus yards every game. We went so fast tempo wise, just had some amazing stats. And it was a super fun year. Hey, it was easy calling ball plays for that group.
Yeah.
And he was so smart. He's so cerebral. I mean, he understands football. He knew he was the best running back in the country, but he prepared the game and worked on his footwork in his quarterback drops, worked on his mechanics, knew what his reads were, all those different things that a 5-star kid that knows he's not even going to ever play this position again. You know, sometimes high school kid be like, I don't want to do that. He does it because he loves his teammates, loved his city, loved his school. And I just always thought that was really special, you know, coming from him.
Good.
And now he's got a ring. So
Now he's got a ring, and I got a ring because of it.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that I tell Brace that, man, I hope you can do that. You can do that for me again. That'd be great. I'd be excited.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you taking the time to jump on here with us. It's always good to talk to the local coaches and, you know, good insights for 2022. And I know
Absolutely, guys.
we're gonna be pulling for you and keep that Greyhound blood going. You know,
Ain't no doubt.
That's a deal.
All right, man. I appreciate it, guys. Thank y'all for having me on.
Yeah, we'll be catching up with you soon. Maybe during the season we can get back with you at some point.
Yeah, y'all just give me a holler. I appreciate you guys.
we'll get him and Bray for a mid-season recap together. A little
That's
dual
right.
action. There we go.
That's right.
All right, Coach.
All
Thanks
right,
a lot.
All right.
We'll see you soon.
All right. See y'all.
Thank you. Ready?
It's going.
Well, that's a wrap with Coach Pennock. Thought that went well. How about you, Blake?
Yeah, I think so.
Good.
He's got some great stories about some players he's coached. He's got it sounds like he knows what needs to happen to
Yeah.
you know, take the team to the next level.
That's
which like
good.
we've always talked about the coast teams have kind of lacked. But
Yeah,
we'll find out. We'll see if they can do it.
good, well, good. Well, this will be up probably tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. We'll go ahead and call it a night from Milla T and Blake. Have a good one. Take care. Check us out.
There you go.